Welcome to another session in this Python series. In this session, we are going to be looking at string formatting in Python. String formatting is a way of inserting a variable into string, and it helps us to create dynamic and readable outputs. There are several methods, but let's start with this first one, which is called percent formatting. And the logic is that we put a placeholder in our string, which will represent the variable we want to insert. So if we want to insert a string, we use percent and s as the placeholder. If we want to insert an integer, we use percent %d. And if we want to insert a floating number, we put percent %f. So let's get at it. Assuming I have a text like this, my name is, so I want to say my name is James, but I want to insert the variable name first name. So I will just put a placeholder, and this placeholder is a percent sign, but because what I want to insert is a string, so I will put s. And then after this, I will specify that this my placeholder is standing for which variable? First name. So if I context again, you can see that it is working perfectly. So if I change this now to Femi, you can see that it's working perfectly. Now let us look at when we have more than a single variable like this. So let's say text, my first name is, so I want to put a placeholder, a percent sign, because my first name is Shagun and it is a string. It's going to be a string. Middle name is then a placeholder, which is a string, and the last name is a placeholder, which is also a string. And I will put my percent sign to notify Python that now these are the variables that will go for the placeholders. Because the variables are more than one, I will put them in a parenthesis. So the first name goes first, then the middle name, and then the last name. So if we do this, we have it based on our arrangement. If we rearrange the elements here, then it will also reflect, because this is the first name standing for the first placeholder, middle name standing for the second placeholder, and last name for the third placeholder. So if we rearrange these placeholders will also show based on our arrangements here. So we can take hold of this notebook and play around that. Good. We can also use numeric variables, and let us look at how that one goes. So let's say my text is like this. There are 5, so I want to say there are 5 eggs. So I will use a placeholder But the 5 here, I want it to be in an integer, so I will put D. So there are 5 eggs in the basket, which is, so I want to say 50% of expected. So I will put a placeholder there, but I want it to be a floating point, so I put F. So 50% of expected. So then I will notify it and say this, the first is X, and then the second placeholder is for percentage. And if you call our text, there are 5x. You see that this 5 is not 5.1 because it has converted it to an integer. That is why this is the percentage D, the percent D here. You can see that this 50.5 has been converted to 50.5000, which is a floating point, and our output is correct. Now, before we move forward, what of if I just want this to be in 2 decimal places? What am I going to do? It's basic. I just come here and tell Python that truly this is a floating point, but after the decimal point, I only want 2 values. And if I do this, you can see it's not in 2 decimal places. And if I write 3 here, we have 3 decimal places. Good.